Hi guys, welcome to this audio podcast episode about how I feel about just getting my ADHD diagnosis. Ironically, I forgot that I had an appointment until several minutes after I was supposed to be on video call, and my mother, who is here with me at the moment, asked me why I wasn't on the call. I had absolutely completely forgotten, and I also completely forgot that it is now Tuesday and I did not release a podcast episode this week. So I really appreciate you guys bearing with me while my executive functioning is particularly low at the moment. So I have mixed feelings, I guess, about getting an official diagnosis. I didn't expect to feel much at all, but I feel so relieved. And it's funny because as she was asking me all the questions, I was doing that thing where if you've ever gone to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or even a doctor and you're explaining your symptoms, having that bit of imposter syndrome, like feeling like, oh, maybe this isn't enough, maybe it's just all in my head. I guess I have these symptoms, but surely that doesn't necessarily mean that I have this thing. So it's funny, even though I was answering all the questions and saying that I had a lot of the symptoms and I'd already done the checklist that I needed to do before the appointment, when she said that, yes, I have a lot of the symptoms and it creates this entire picture of ADHD and it's very clear textbook case of ADHD, it was still surprising for me because I have questioned it myself, and that level of imposter syndrome and just wondering, is this accurate, is this not? Having that level of confirmation and recognition that, oh, it is this thing and this is why it feels hard and this is why I resonate with it. Even though I was, 99% sure, it's just nice to have recognition from another human who is an expert in this area. So I have that level of relief where I'm looking back and saying, okay, it's okay that I've struggled so much. It's okay that my potential's been locked inside. It's okay that I've stopped and started projects and haven't been able to follow through. And this is the reason. It's not that I'm broken or lazy or just can't at all do it. And the psychiatrist did mention that there can be impacts on self-esteem. And I nodded profusely and said, oh yeah, definitely. Just not even knowing if I have the capability to follow through with a project all the way to the end, and telling her about my business and how I've got it to the point where it's all sitting there, it's all ready, and I'm putting out these podcast episodes, but just taking it to that next level of being consistent with it and consistently having clients and doing marketing and all the little aspects that need to be done. It's frustrating and disappointing and it's disheartening. And if I got to the end of my life and never got past this point, I would feel so unfulfilled, and that would be my biggest regret ever. And already having actively worked on it for 5 years and not gotten to that point where I wanted to be at has a massive impact. But the psychiatrist said, it's amazing that I've got to that point. And ADHDers have so many strengths, and we are often so gifted with being very intellectual, very bright, very creative, and there are so many beautiful aspects to it as well. And she said, did I just say, I don't know if I just said, she said it was great that I've gotten to that point already. I think I did say that. So I think it's really important that we acknowledge that we've been doing the best that we can with the resources that we have, and being really kind to yourself. And if you don't have a diagnosis yet, giving yourself that compassion. And if you feel like you need a diagnosis, or after hearing this want to go and get a diagnosis, I recommend it. I didn't think I needed one, but having one is so relieving, so relieving. And so the psychiatrist also said that there is a lot to gain. There's a lot to gain by having diagnosis and proper treatment, especially when it comes to this business of mine, that it's all I want to do with my life is to help people and teach what I have learned and share my skills. So that's the one that's the one reason I went and got this proper diagnosis and am considering medication, so I'm able to take my business to the next level. Because in terms of general functioning in my life, I have done amazingly. I have done a lot of work, a lot of trial and error. I've done so much research. I've learnt amazing strategies and life hacks and little shifts in habit, shifts in mindset that mean that I've been able to manage my mood and energy fluctuations and put in place good habits and have good routines and structures and address impulsivity. I used to make these big life changes until I realized that actually I don't want to upend my life. That the saying goes that a change is as good as a holiday, but for me, I need to tell myself that a holiday is as good as a change, and to have a break and to go out. And when I seek impulsivity for dopamine seeking reasons, I can go and do something that's exciting, that's a day trip, perhaps going to somewhere new, or doing something active like rollerblading or rock climbing, or experiencing something different, or starting a new hobby, rather than moving house or going to live in a camper van, or some of these more extreme things that I've done in the past. And I'm really proud of myself looking back at how far I've been able to grow and how much I've been able to manage my ADHD and autism through these natural strategies, and without them being really big strategies. I'm such a big proponent, I think the word is, advocate for creating little shifts in your life and just changing the way you do things, rather than trying to do more stuff or like really restricted diets and things like that. I really believe in integrating it with your life and making small changes that have big impact. So I'm kind of glad. And the thing with business, online business, and the knowledge sharing business is this perception that we go through struggles, but then it allows us to empathize with other people, understand the struggle, and then guide people through it and be like a lighthouse. And Tony Robbins says you only need to be 2 steps ahead of someone in order to help them. And that is so true. And right now in this moment, knowing that I'll be trying something that has been effective for so many people, and that gives me hope towards what I will be able to achieve, and is taking this weight off my shoulders of having to do it all myself, makes me really excited that I will be able to more properly and effectively share all the natural strategies as well, because it's not just one or the other. They say that pills don't teach skills, and you really need both. And I can really, like, my life is such a tribute or an example of that I've been able to reach the age of 30, and over the last 15 years have been actively learning all these skills and stuff, and get to the point that I've been able to get to of really minimizing the impact of neurodiversity on my life, and really appreciating and enhancing and encouraging all the benefits of it. And to have done that all naturally is absolutely incredible. And I'm glad that I didn't do it the other way and didn't just have medication and that kind of fix the problems to a degree, because ironically, although I don't feel 100% confident and capable in following through with projects to the finish, like I mentioned before, I do feel like I'm very capable in managing the ADHD in general, because I've had to struggle through it. So I've become strong and wise through the process. And I highly recommend considering both. And I can tell you how I go with medication. That's obviously an individual choice. I'm really appreciative and glad of the psychiatrist that I saw, because her first recommendation was high intensity exercise every day. And I love that, because if you do 15 minutes exercise a day, it actually has a massive impact on your brain, on your functioning. And I really encourage that. And that's been really beneficial to me as well. And at the moment, my functioning is down. I haven't been doing my exercise, and you can kind of get into a bit of a cycle. But I do have hacks and systems and strategies to get out of that and get back on the bandwagon of good habits. I've been on and off many times, and as you go through that and you practice, it becomes easier and easier to jump back on the wagon rather than just giving up your habits and taking forever to get back on board with them. So it definitely can be done. And I just love that the psychiatrist recommended that, and the studies are showing such a profound impact on ADHD that it's actually being recommended. And the second thing she recommended was an ADHD coach to implement strategies and hacks, just like I teach. And I absolutely adore that because, as I just said a moment ago, I truly believe that both are really important, and it's so empowering to be able to make these shifts and changes in your life, and necessary as well, because pills don't teach skills and they don't fix everything. The other thing I really loved is that depending on the medication, it's not necessarily forever. It doesn't need to be taken every day. And the psychiatrist actually recommended, through guidance, of course, with your medical practitioner, taking a break every 2 years to check in and see how you're going. And a lot of the strategies and skills that you learn, a lot of the changes in the brain that get made can actually be present still after stopping the medication. And this was something I was told by an ADHD psychologist in regards to children as well, that even taking medication for a couple of years in childhood, particularly I think she said around the age of 8 to 12, I guess, can have lasting impacts on how the brain develops, and can actually help with creating these changes in the brain that are lasting after medication. It's not necessarily a lifelong thing. So I love that, because I'm very much a person who prefers to err on the natural side of things. I minimize sugar, I don't drink coffee, and I don't like taking medications. So knowing that it's not forever is good, and getting a full body check to make sure the body can handle these kinds of medications. That was really wonderful to know as well, that they take all those precautions and that they will check that my body's able to handle it. So those are my initial thoughts on getting the diagnosis, and I noticed my mood is boosted already because I feel hopeful and optimistic, and almost like I've just suddenly forgiven myself for a whole bunch of struggles and not being able to do the things I wanted to do. So that's a really nice feeling. And that's another thing the psychiatrist mentioned, is that the medication can help with mood, but also just functioning better in daily life and achieving the things you want to achieve, because your brain is on your team and doing the things you want it to do can boost mood. It can boost the mood and, feel better about life. And I said I wholeheartedly agree with that, because I'm just so excited to see if it does help in the ways that it's helped for other people. And if it does, and I can function better in terms of business and helping people and being consistent, I will be absolutely thrilled, because it is something that I've been working on for the last 13 to 16 years, is coaching and helping people achieve a life that is really fulfilling in all ways and has an impact in whatever way you want to, and just really writing your life as your story and creating it as you desire. That's something I've always wanted. So I've been able to do it in some doses over the years, but to do it consistently and have a larger impact, I'm so excited for, and we'll see what happens with that. So I'm going to stop talking for now, because I have things that I'm supposed to be doing. And if I think of any more things I might add onto this podcast episode, and you'll obviously see if the podcast episode runs longer, if that's what's happening. Otherwise, I will talk to you in the next episode, and we'll see how things go. I'm really excited to connect with you guys more consistently and in a larger and more impactful way. All right. See you guys.